hair is like an old man. So today, let's talk about this green glow pen. This pen right here in particular, I've had this pen for coming up on a year now, and this was a gift. I personally didn't pay for this pen. It was a gift, a Christmas gift from a family friend, really a friend of my wife, my wife's friend. I don't even remember how we ended up on the subject of like pens or me getting a fountain pen, or how gifting a fountain pen to me even came about. I'm not even sure how that whole thing even worked out. But I was gifted this pen, and honestly, this was the pen I wanted. I wanted this pen, and I wanted the purple glow pen, right? The purple pen that glows blue, and this one's green, and obviously glows green. I wanted both of them, and I ended up with both of them, but not in the way that I thought that I would end up with both of them, because the purple one doesn't belong to me, it belongs to my daughter, which is a topic for another day. I'll go on a rant about her and her fountain pen habit and writing and artistic, prowess and all of that jazz, right? But I chose to fill this pen with one of my favorite inks, the Diamine Imperial Purple. And it turns out, for October, green, purple, those type of colors, it kind of just worked out for this video. This really wasn't like a planned thing, but I know it's kind of strange, like doing like these, yearly reviews of the same pen, Twsbi Eco, but surprisingly, this pen writes differently than the Twsbi Eco, the mint blue one that I have, which is a fine nib as well. This one writes a little bit finer, and it's a little bit scratchier than the other one, which is kind of weird. I thought they all would kind of write the same, because they're all manufactured in batches, but now that I think about it, because they're manufactured in batches, there probably are pens that are different, right, as far as nibs are concerned. So in comparison to some other fine nib pens, the exact same manufacturer, this pen is a little bit more scratchier than the other one, and I kind of like it that way though, and it writes a little bit finer. Maybe because I've used the Twsbi Eco T, the mint one, a lot more. I'll show you that one, what I'm talking about. Maybe I've used this one a lot more than I've used this one, because I've refilled this one twice this year, and this is just now coming to the end of its fill. And again, as I speak about in my other pen videos, these pens hold a lot of ink, especially considering with them being demonstrators, and I like to see my ink. I think that's kind of like why I lean towards these pretty heavily, is because I like to see my ink. But specifically, I think that this is actually a really good pen. It's kind of a conversation piece, especially because it's green, and then when you go in places, I work inside, so being outside now, when I pull it out, it's gonna be glowing green, and it's a conversation piece. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's a glow in the dark pen. Honestly, it's kind of childish, in my opinion, to have glow in the dark things, but I think it's cool. I personally like it. But again, not to go on a rant about things. I personally like this pen, and coming up on the refill here soon. It's a good pen. I've had no issues with it, and again, I know there are people who have problems with these pens cracking. I don't have any of those problems with any of my pens. The only pen that I've really had an issue with is that Narwhal pen, and I'll be making a video about my dislike of that pen. For a number of reasons, but that's just my personal opinion. I find it very difficult to not like pens, because I'm not a super picky person. I'm not the type of person that has a specific type of, it doesn't have to write a certain way, or it doesn't have to you know, it doesn't have to be up to like my specific standards. I'm usually the kind of person that, like, you know, my pens are what they are, and like I'll adapt to them essentially, right? So I'm like, I got what I got and I'll write it, but like this particular narwhal I just don't like. But back on this Twsbi, I don't have any issues with it. I've had it for a year, like I said, or close to a year, coming up in December. And I haven't, this wasn't my daily pen, but this was one of those pens like I pulled out and I did write with it consistently enough to, you know, run dry, well, not dry, but, you know, running out of ink, you know, somewhat. And so I think, again, that these pens are worth the money, the $30 that you spend for them, and I do think that they're fairly reliable pens. And, you know, the naysayers are going to say what they're going to say, but in my opinion, my particular pens have worked out fine for me. So if that works out, or if that answers any questions, or if you have any specific questions about the longevity of these pens, then please leave a comment. Again, this pen is from 2019. I like to call it my pre-pandemic pen, and as you can see, it's empty too, because I use it quite regularly. Not nearly as much as this one, but this is I filled it twice this year as well, and I filled this one twice too, so about interchangeably. This one also has a medium nib, which writes kind of fine and scratchy as well, which is kind of strange because this one is super smooth. I don't know, weird. This one's scratchy, this one's smooth, this one's scratchy. The VAC 700, which I feel like 4 times, because I never have gotten the full feel of this, which it holds a ton of ink as well. This is a broad nib, and this is super smooth, and it uses a lot of ink when you write because it's a broad nib. It's super wet. I like it though. So yeah. Just on another note as well, I've come to the realization that, like I said, I've said in a couple other videos that like you won't get a ton of fountain pen reviews from me. You'll get like a lot of longevity and reliability videos, and just videos on living with fountain pens. I'm not a collector of pens, so I won't be buying every Sailor that comes out in a different color. I'll probably get like 1 or 2, maybe 3. I'll get a pilot, 2 pilots, 2 Sailors probably. And if I'm lucky enough to afford a Mont Blanc sometime in the future, then I'll get one of those. But that'll be the extent of my collection. I'm not a collector of fountain pens. I use all of my fountain pens. I do have 3 in here that I don't use, and I'll tell you why in a later video on why I don't use those. And then I'll make a video on the usage of those, because I do have them, I paid for them, and I do choose to live with those pens. So specifically, I'm more of a, let's see how I live with these pens. I write with them daily in my notebooks. And so yeah, as far as the Twsbi Eco Green Glow goes, it's one of my favorites. I wish I could get another one. I might get another one just to have, because I really like this glow in the dark pattern. It's kind of funny looking back at it that it glows in the dark. So yeah.